Hey everyone! In today's video, I thought I would talk a little bit about my process and some tips and tricks to keep in mind while you're working that might make your drawing a little bit easier and a little bit more interesting, and that address some of the questions that I get asked a lot. Now, when you're beginning a drawing, I think it's really important to start off really loose and just kind of let the ideas develop, because I think too many people try too hard to be perfect and to get the drawing exactly how they want it right at the beginning, and you end up getting frustrated because that usually doesn't happen. So it's really a lot easier to work really loosely and then start to build up the details first before you commit to any inking lines or any really dark lines or any finalized details. It'll make your piece a lot more well thought out and something that you're a lot happier with. Something else to keep in mind is how your lines overlap, and I'm talking about in areas like this, and this, as well as throughout the rest of the drawing. And these are areas where you can very clearly see just small little lines that overlap in order to give more dimension and more form to your piece, so it doesn't feel so flat. It gives it more visual interest and makes it look somewhat more three-dimensional, even if you have a very cartoony or stylized piece. So when you're drawing a figure and where you're drawing clothes, think about how the lines overlap and how they wrap around each other in order to give your piece more visual interest. Now, I get asked how to draw hair all the time, and my number one tip for that is to break down the hair into more manageable pieces. A big mistake I see a lot of people making is they try to draw in all of these strands of hair and add way too many lines way too early on, and it makes the hair look flat, or it makes it look blocky, or it makes it look like it's not flowing correctly. So you want to break the hair down into bigger locks and bigger shapes that flow nicely before you start adding the detail. So you want to get the overall shape of the hair, break it down into sections, and then start adding in the extra lines after. It'll make the hair look more realistic and it'll give it more energy. The same rule applies to a lot of other parts of your drawings as well, like with clothes. So when you're drawing a skirt, it's easier to draw the entire shape of the skirt before you start adding in all the details in the fold. It'll make your drawing look more realistic and more believable. When you're working with color, unless you're purposely trying to make your drawing have all flat colors, you're going to want to consider where your light source is. And that just means that at some place in your drawing, there is either a drawn or an imagined light source. So you'll have shadows on one side and highlights on the other side. I'm not going to go fully into detail on how light and shade works, but if you look at this particular piece, you can see the shadow is on this side and the highlights are on this side. That means that my light source is coming from the upper right-hand side, so it's casting brighter light on that side and casting shadows on the left side. You'll also see a little bit more shadow underneath the skirt, underneath the neck, or areas where shadows are naturally cast. Last tip for today is to just work out your color palette before you start working to avoid any frustration. If you're new to working with color, it's a lot easier to have a simple color palette of colors that go really well together than to add too many colors and end up having it look like a mess. Take the time to study a color wheel and understand which colors work together, which colors are complementary, and you'll always know which colors work well together. And if you're really stuck for a color palette and you're just not sure what to do, go online and search for color palettes there and you'll find plenty for you to reference, and that's a good way to kind of get your knowledge going. I hope that was helpful to some of you guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a like, and go ahead and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Till my next video, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye!